Every great fantasy adventure has a few magical components, and today I want to share the two biggest secret ingredients that brought our magical fantasy home to life. What's up, adventurers? I'm TJ Garland, your quest companion in all realms of stories told, relics made, and roads traveled. Welcome back to the DIY Fantasy Flip. If you're new here, this is the series where I transform my ordinary house I just moved into a Hobbitcore, Cottagecore, fantasy adventure-inspired home. In the first episode, I tested a couple methods of painting, one being a fake limewash using basic interior paint, and the other being faux wood grain painting techniques. In episode 2, we get into the house, start applying what we learned, start painting, limewashing walls, baseboards, and laying down the foundation, or what I like to call the canvas of the fantasy flip. And now here we are, the payoff chapter, where this place finally starts to feel like our home. Since the last episode, a lot has happened. We finally finished painting the rest of the trim to match the wood color we did on the baseboards, and we finished painting the dining room and kitchen in a beautiful green limewash by Portola brand limewash paints. The exact color we used is called Shelter. My wife absolutely loved it.
This is what it is. Oh, my kitchen! Oh, it's so pretty. Honey, I love it.
But because the last episode was all about painting, I went ahead and skipped past the process. We've seen enough of that already, and you guys have waited long enough to see the end results. So by now you may be asking, what exactly are these magical components I mentioned earlier? The first one I want to break down is lighting. Lighting is the foundation of everything when it comes to interior design and decorating. Before I ever picked up a paintbrush, before I even decided on the color of the paint, I was already thinking about the natural light in each room. Take my dining room, for instance. Super bright. With the amount of windows and the direction the sun rises and sets in there, it meant I could go darker in that room, especially since my living room was much darker. So I went lighter on the walls in the living room in that whole space and decided on the green limewash in the dining room. It's like how Bob Ross, I love him, would sometimes start a painting with either a white gesso or a black gesso on his canvas. He decides how his light source works first, and then he starts layering the details. And I didn't just stop there. I also thought about my artificial light sources. I found this really awesome floor lamp on Amazon. It's like a natural tree branch post with lanterns hanging off of it. I had the perfect little spot in the living room for it because it was one of the darkest places, and I felt like it needed something there to fill it up, but also illuminate it a bit. I also went to IKEA and grabbed a buttload of display lights. I knew right away I wanted to light up the shelves on our entertainment center because no matter what you put in it, it was just a dark cove and absolutely no light, except for the ceiling fan, which wasn't much help. Speaking of the ceiling fan, I couldn't just have a regular ceiling fan light in the middle of my fantasy flipped living room, and I think I found the perfect replacement. While I was shopping for paints, I clocked this one fan that immediately just felt right. If there ever was a world that an enchanted cottage or hobbit hole somehow had the technology to have a ceiling fan, this leaf-bladed fan would be it. It just reminds me of the Shire or even Rivendell. I don't know, so I had to have it. Every piece of decor I've placed, I considered how the environment would be lit, from placement of my salt lamps to our new stained glass window clings. Even firelight is a thing to consider. If you noticed two small sconce shelves in my dining room, those serve a double purpose. Not just because they're cool places to hold my Weta prop keys, but because at night, if I really want to set a darker tone, I can place my oil lamps on them. Why not candles? Great question. I'm glad you asked because it's time for The More You Know!
Hi! Everyone thinks candles were the medieval lighting go-to. Hollywood loves to show castles with glowing chandeliers full of candles. Could you imagine the hot wax just dripping on all your guests' heads and having to constantly clean that up off the floor? Neither can I. Historically, oil lamps were the real MVPs. Cheaper and more practical, and you could even control how bright they burn. Candles, especially beeswax, were insanely expensive. Basically, they were luxury items for the rich and the church. Ordinary folks couldn't afford to light their homes with them. And tallow candles? Whew, they stank, they smoked, and they burned out fast. Oil lamps, on the other hand, were cheap, reusable, and efficient. A little clay pot, a linen wick, some oil, that's it. They burned longer, brighter, and you could refill them endlessly. In the Mediterranean, olive oil was the go-to fuel. Further north, people used fish oil or animal fats. Either way, oil lamps lit the daily lives of peasants, merchants, and travelers. The only reason we think of candles today is because churches insisted on pure beeswax for worship, and later, historians focused on that image. But for the common medieval household, oil lamps carried the night. If there's anything else you'd like to know, just let me know.
The second ingredient that I'm going to talk about is storytelling. Every room, every shelf, every corner should tell a story. For me, I wanted our home to feel like this residence of an adventurer, a place where treasures from quests and relics from battles are on display. Since my dining room is our place of gathering, where we eat meals, we tell stories and play games, it was important for us to give it more of a tavern pub sort of vibe. So we hung tankards, maps on the walls, glasses and goblets and candles, and of course barrels, along with a few relics and Easter eggs here and there. Like I said before, I want it to feel overall like an adventurer's home. So perched on top of the barrel in the corner, we have the Helm of Sauron, and in another corner, the Crown of Gondor. It's more of a memento sort of corner to our wedding.
Oh, God!
In the living room, I wanted the entertainment center to be a cross between multiple fantasy worlds. We have wand boxes stacked beneath an Ollivander sign to take people back to the memory of Harry's first wand, and dragon eggs on display, waiting for their Targaryen mother to awaken them, next to leather-bound books, and of course, barrels on standby, waiting for us to host our company. And the credenza is a collection of relics, including a skull, Arya's dagger, the Eye of Agamotto. Above it, a dragon wing broom my wife made, with a Diagon Alley sign leading us to the hallway that's filled with darker magic cauldrons, a Death Eater mask, and Horcruxes. So, you see, when you tell stories through your decor, your house becomes more than a house. It becomes an immersive space, a place where every item has meaning and every corner feels alive and rich with history, and that's the magic. So just to recap and show just how far we've gone, here's a quick look at where we started and where we are now. And with that, I'm closing the book on this last chapter of the Fantasy Flip.
Of course you are! And I'm going with you!
While there's still plenty more I want to do in this house, I feel like I've given you everything you need to begin your own quest. Because that's what this whole series has been about. Showing you that with lighting, storytelling, the right canvas to start with, and a few key pointers on painting and what not to do, you can transform your house into something magical. This isn't just the end of my fantasy flip, it's the beginning of yours. And I would love to see what you do with your own home. If you decide to transform your home into something out of an epic fantasy tale, whether it's Hobbitcore, Cottagecore, or your own unique world, share your pictures. I want to see your stories, your choices. What did you decide on? You know, how did it work and come out for you? Tag me, send them my way. I want to see how your quest unfolds. And if you want to keep following along on mine, don't forget to subscribe, join the guild, and come back for the next adventure. Martier.